He's back again. He steps on. He's hit. He stumbles. He is throwing it deep for the end zone, and it is batted around and incomplete. And the game is over.
Ooh, had the back door. Oh, Simmons threw it in reverse. Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here. Second and one. Here's Hughes giving it across. Oh, what a save!
Welcome back to the Street Benchwarmers Podcast. There is an elephant in the room, obviously. We'll talk about that later. We have a lot to talk about with that, but
Yes, sir.
we are recovering mentally and emotionally. But
Yup. Be strong.
we're gonna stay strong by plugging the website that I don't know we've posted anything on. Hungry Dog Sports.
We have.
Oh, we have?
Yo,
Oh my God,
we'll
we
be
did.
up by the time this is done, I swear.
Oh,
It will be up. Be on the lookout.
He said that every episode, but just, we are broken from the 76ers, so we are just gonna, if we put out a video a day, that's probably why. So we're gonna start with this game just ended, like when we're recording this. Luka Doncic, my God. Okay.
Man, I don't even know how to begin this, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just the potential at 21 years old of this kid who, I mean, we knew he was a special talent when he was drafted. He's not the most athletic guy. We know that. He's not the best defender. But the offensive potential, his ability to create his own shot. This man dropped 43 with 17 assists and 17 rebounds and 13 assists.
Yeah.
Coming off a game in which he had to exit with a hurt ankle to the point where we didn't even know if he was going to play today.
Yeah. And they don't even have Porzingis. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, I hate to over-exaggerate, but this is Jordan flu game stuff.
Yeah.
It really is.
To have a 40-point triple-double against probably the best, I don't know, wing defender in the league is ridiculous.
Exactly. And I was confused why they didn't switch him on, the best wing defender, on him on that last play.
Yeah.
But
Reggie Jackson,
Reggie Jackson, exactly.
Well, I will say something that is, we're not going to go into the Sixers for a little bit just to save the moment, but Trey Burke, 25 points. Oh my God. And we kept Neto, guys. We kept Neto.
It's hurtful. It's hurtful. I mean, we all know that this is a league where there's definitely, a depth of guards throughout free agency and throughout the market. But to be able to pick up a guy off the bench with that substance, as Trey Burke has been this season for the Dallas Mavericks, is absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's outperformed their top rookie, Jalen Brunson, and earned his spot. So definitely an impressive performance from him. I wanted to talk about Paul George.
Oh, yeah, sure.
This is a guy who I've always been a big fan of, to be honest. I loved him when he was in Indiana, and he had a series against Braun that was great. But he may be one of the softest NBA players I've ever seen. I'm just going to be honest. To go at Damian Lillard and talk and make it, and I'm not trying to be a Dame stan right now. Yeah. I'm not. This isn't even about Dame. But if you're gonna talk to another superstar and act like you are this top 10 player, which I believe he is, and then in a game which could single-handedly swing a series and determine the momentum of your season, 9 points, 3 assists, 3 of 14 from 3. that is not a superstar. That is not what Kawhi Leonard moved to LA for. And I, honestly, if I'm going to put this game on someone, it's going to be him. It is.
Yeah, sure.
He wasn't clutch in the big moments. It's just, I expect more from a team with 2 of the top 5 players, and one of them performed fantastic in Kawhi Leonard. So I find myself disappointed, even though not to undermine Luka Doncic's stay.
Yeah, and I think Lou Will was pretty good, and
Fantastic.
I know you've called him a scrub for a while, but Marcus Morris hit that clutch 3 before Luka obviously did his thing.
No, I'll apologize.
I was very surprised.
I was too. This is a guy who, I mean, we're talking about a history of choking. I mean, Marcus Morris has plenty of it, especially years ago with the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
But for him to come out strong, I think that's definitely a good career step. And if he can continue to do that in a series against, the Lakers, if they even make it there, I mean, we're going to get into it. I don't know what the future of this series is for the Los Angeles Clippers, but that's definitely a key piece.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll move on to the other LA series, Blazers and Lakers. That game with Melo and LeBron yesterday was amazing, but I mean,
it was.
I unfortunately didn't watch it because I don't know what I was even doing.
Yeah.
I'm sort of gaining more confidence in the Lakers. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's if they get out in the series in less than 6 games, then sure. But
I mean, obviously,
yeah,
I
there's
think
still
many
many.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
I mean, to drop 38 and 17, and to finally have that aggressiveness that we had been talking about on the last podcast, he just didn't look the same. And so for him to come out strong and swing this series like he did, I think that's definitely a huge point for the Lakers. And I think with the Clippers in trouble right now, I think, they need to get this over with, finished, and get well rested, because we don't know the fate of who they're going to play in the Western Conference Finals now. It's kind of hanging in the balance, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, our main gripe with the Lakers was we need playoff LeBron and we need the depth to show up. And I mean, the second is, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I mean, that's LeBron has never really had an elite bench with him, so I mean, he's used to this, and he has a top.
Tristan Thompson not elite?
Yeah, no, he's like a top 5 player with him with the AD. So I mean,
yeah,
that Houston OKC series is interesting. Guess we'll get into that now, but I don't know. I still think they have a good enough shot to make it all the way. So Houston and OKC. That first game really scared me because I'm rooting for the Thunder, and then Chris Paul happened and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander happened. My God.
Man, I mean, for all the trash talk we do about Chris Paul and have continued to do about Chris Paul since he got traded, this man has done nothing but help this team succeed, and I was incredibly impressed with his performance last night. He's had a not great past 2 games, very disappointing, especially with Russell Westbrook not even being in. But for him to totally step up after making that mistake at the end of the 4th quarter and just totally take over in overtime, everybody's going to go to that deep 3, but just making plays all over the court. I think that is the leadership this Thunder team needed. And honestly, I think they are back in this series. Yeah. I don't know when Russell Westbrook is going to return, but right now, if you're going to look at it, they have that spark of momentum that I thought they really needed. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was that piece. They needed that young piece to come in. He had underperformed the past 2 games. So, I mean, do I like their chances? No. But I think, they definitely have the potential to make this a close series and a lot better than we expected.
Yeah, as much as a Russ hater as I am, I will admit. But, yeah, I think he makes that much of a difference. I mean,
I do too.
The Rockets don't really have that much depth since they go in small ball, which I'm never going to get used to or be a fan of. But Yeah, I think
He's
I
so
think you
weird.
need a
He's so slow to watch on the
yeah.
court, honestly.
Yeah, you need a number two to Harden, and you can't. Who's their number two right
Yep.
now? Like Eric Gordon, Austin Rivers,
I
Daniel
mean,
House.
Daniel House, yeah. Daniel
Yeah,
House had a night last night, man.
yeah,
He
whatever.
almost single-handedly took that game.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I definitely think Russell Westbrook is still a top 3 point guard. Obviously, I like him a lot more than Nathan. I think he definitely makes a difference.
yeah.
But
I mean, Dame. No. Steph, Dame. Then like,
definitely.
are you gonna say Russ? Then I mean, no.
Yeah, Rustin. You had me a little worried with the Dame stuff.
Oh yeah, Dame. Yeah, I was just about to say like, oh well, yeah. Well, yeah. Our final West series, Utah Denver. It's been one of my favorites so far.
Mhm.
Because I mean, Donovan Mitchell, you said he's gonna be a better he would be a better fit on the Sixers than Ben.
I agree.
Honestly, thinking about that, gee, I mean, this the way he's performed in the playoffs has really impressed me. I mean, his dumb little pettiness with the Rookie of the Year thing will always like
That was, yeah.
be dumb, but I think doing all this without Bogdanovich and now just getting back Mike Conley against his Denver team, who I mean, they did lose to the Blazers in the second round, but I mean, I thought that would give them motivation, like, oh, we should try to go far, but now they're just like,
I don't know, man. I just feel like this Denver team has so many young, talented pieces, and
yeah,
outside of Jokic and Jamal Murray, nobody's really been performing.
yeah,
I look to Michael Porter Jr.
mm-hmm,
I look to, Monte Morris
mm-hmm.
and,
Paul Millsap.
not Paul Millsap isn't a young
Yes.
piece.
Yeah,
The
he's not a
shooting
young
guard.
piece, obviously. Torrey Craig.
Torrey Craig, yo. I look to all these young shooting pieces who have not been able to light it up, and especially Porter Jr. Because
Mhm.
we're talking about, this next Kevin Durant and,
Oh,
the
God.
next superstar. And if his offensive game is not kicking, he cannot be on the court
Yeah,
because he is a complete defensive liability. He does not have just the adjustments to NBA defensive basketball that he needs to be able to be on the court for any more than 25 minutes a game. And so if he can't give you that scoring boost, then he can't be on the court. And I don't think with the way he's played so far this series he deserves to be.
yeah. So moving out east, I will not. This isn't a way to like come at you, but you had some confidence in Indiana, and they're down 3-0
I do.
against the Miami Heat, and I thought it would be a 7-game series. Like it's like, and I think we both said Miami in 7, but like, yeah, I think this Miami team is legit. I will not lie.
I just think there gets to a point in an NBA series where it gets into your head, where you're in all of these close games. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And slowly it starts to take a toll on you. And I think that's what happened with Indiana. I think they're banged up. You don't have Sabonis, who's your best player, obviously. Oladipo being out game 1. You're having to play Jakar Sampson major minutes in a playoff series.
Sixers legend, of course.
Exactly.
And
So
God, they have so many Sixers legends. They have TJ.
they do. Exactly.
Yeah,
TJ's played fine. TJ's been good. But I think there's just a certain point where mentally you break down, and I think that's what I've seen in this series. TJ Warren's been great. Malcolm Brogdon's been great. But outside of that, they're not really getting the same production from their bench that they have been getting the past through this bubble and through the regular season. And so I think that's where Miami, with guys like Duncan Robinson and guys like Kendrick Nunn and guys like these young Tyler Hero, these young shooters who can just take over, as well as Jimmy Butler, who got to the line like 20 times last night. Yeah. I think it just gets in your head, and overall, I don't want to say they're done. I think they still could take a game or two in this series. I honestly do, but I think it's a wrap for them in the bubble at some point for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the Free throw attempts is kind of sus. The officiating has been pretty
Exactly.
garbage in this bubble, to be honest. We'll get to it later with the Sixers. I mean, I guess we'll. Oh, okay. I guess we'll just go there.
We'll get to it now.
Yeah. So if you're living under a rock, the Sixers got swept by the Celtics. I said Celtics in 5, which was probably pipe.
That was optimistic.
Yeah, I was probably hyping them up too much by thinking they would win one game.
Yep.
But this is the culmination of a disaster of a season.
Man, this is the culmination, and it hurts me to say it. I knew I was going to
say this. This
is the culmination of the disaster of the process.
The process will go down as one of the biggest disasters in Philadelphia sports. Oh God, I don't want to say it's the dream team, but it might be.
Oh God.
Oh my God. Oh no. It might be. Oh God.
Now, just think about it though. 3 seasons of tanking. 4 seasons of tanking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we have all the assets in basketball. We do. For those of you who don't know the story, the Colangelo family comes in and takes over. And so, I went through a stage of, being angry about this. You heard me on the last podcast. I went through a stage of being sad about this. You heard me on the podcast before that. I think I've just reached a point where I've accepted that this team is going to never be the same. Yeah. And there's going to need to be some kind of turnaround. And they're not a good basketball team. Yeah, they're just a basketball
incapable. Team. They're a basketball team by definition. They're guys who go on a court and dribble a basketball. They're not very good at it, but
they're average.
They get paid a lot of money to do it, so that's how it is. Good Lord.
And it's hurtful. Yeah. I mean, it hurt me to watch them fight at the end of that game. This is a roster of good guys. You can tell. Tobias Harris at the end of this game to land on the floor. I thought they were going to have to carry him out in a stretcher.
Yeah.
And so to see him fight back in a playoff game when it's on the line and attempt to get it done. Guys like Josh Richardson, who I know of heart, who I know we're playing all out on the floor. It just hurts. But at the end of the day, there needs to be shakeups this offseason. I think Brett Brown is a great guy. Again. But
seems
I'm
like
trying
a decent human being.
Not a friendship.
Yeah. Like, people can be nice, but that doesn't mean you have to, keep them with you, Like, Brett Brown's probably a cool guy to get, lunch with, but he's not a guy that I want to coach my basketball team.
Well, see, here's the thing. Player development is Brett Brown's specialty. This team was developed.
Yeah.
This team, he developed those process teams. Like you said in a previous podcast, we have reached a point now where we're in playoff basketball. So when Brett Brown is running a defensive scheme where we're going under zones, when Brett Brown is refusing to make switches so that Joel Embiid has good matchups in the post, I can't see any reason why you would continue to let him coach this team.
Yeah.
And it seems the team has given up on him as well. I mean, you saw Joel in that press conference after today. He was defeated. Yeah. And so I can't see any reason why he would fight for Brett. And they're good friends. Yeah. I can't see any reason why he would fight for Brett. And so I think beyond that, you have to look inside the organization.
Yeah, Elton Brand.
Elton Brand is the reason this mess has occurred.
Yep.
The Colangelo people who are still in this organization, believe it or not, there are still tens of holdovers from Colangelo that need to go, that had influence into this offseason and signing Horford and all that. And I think there's trades, but I saw Keith Smith tweet this a couple hours ago. To get rid of a large contract, usually $20 million, to get rid of the contract is an attached first-round pick. To get rid of that contract. Tobias Harris is making $40 million. Al Horford is making
27.
I think 27. Yep. So, I mean, there's not much flexibility for you to do. You are locked into the situation.
Yep.
And so, your choices are either get a bad value trade. I shipped this out to you the other day. Nicholas Batum and Malik Monk for Al Horford.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
That what you pictured coming out of the offseason? Is that what you thought when you were signing Al Horford, that you were going to be getting a disgruntled 26-year-old former first-round pick and a washed-up veteran on a $27 million contract? Or your choice is to continue to keep him, try to make this work, and probably ultimately fail, because the fact is there is no spacing on the floor to make this work. You watch footage of games, you see basically it is just Joel Embiid isolations these past 3 games. That's it.
Pretty much.
That's all they run. You have 4 guys right outside on the 3-point line waiting to get it kicked out to them, with Joel Embiid trying to battle Daniel Tice in the paint, and that's it. That is the play.
Mm-hmm.
And it works 50% of the time, 50% it doesn't. So this needs an offense. You need to build around this. Get guys who are able to create their own shots and ball handle and just get shooting around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. You don't need to trade Ben Simmons.
No.
I keep seeing this. You don't need to trade Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
He provides speed in this offense that nobody else can. Like, when Ben Simmons is playing, this team is totally different than when he's not. Yeah. And I think that is the sign of a good player.
Yeah.
And so, like Horford, you can either take horrible value or you can continue to try to make this work. And I think that's the theme of this offseason.
Yep. Well, I mean, I guess we're going into coaching right now because, I mean, maybe by the time we put this out, Brett Brown is gone.
Yep.
We're praying tonight for the downfall of the
Woj tweet said very soon.
This administration, this disgusting regime, but
yep.
Candidates, Kenny Atkinson. I don't even know. I really want him to, but I feel like I don't know, it's a weird spot because I think Carson Ovis with the Bulls might convince him, like, yo, you're doing the Brooklyn thing here. But I think maybe since we're in an actual place of making the playoffs, of contention, then he would maybe consider us. But
I have a pitch.
Sure, go ahead. We just want. This is a really bad take, but just anybody about Brett Brown at this point. Give us a Michael Stauffer from a 2K.
Oh, God. Please, no.
Trent Peterson, come on.
Oh, God. Ty Lue.
Oh, my God. Whoa. That would be so wild.
Think the rotations. Ty Lue, even when LeBron James was not in the game, managed to stay creative and create plays for that bench unit if you watch the tape back. He knows the DNA of a championship team. He's not going to baby these guys. Yeah. And that's exactly what they need. And so I think it's perfect, to be honest. I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think I talked about Mark Jackson on the last one, but I think the flaw Mark Jackson has is not having that playoff DNA. That's the reason he was fired from the Golden State Warriors, because he was old school and they were plunging into mediocrity. And so you would have to be relying on Mark Jackson to update his offense and get that playoff DNA, and I don't know about that. But I think Tyronn Lue is definitely a solid choice.
Yeah, well, yeah. The irony is just really weird. It's like I told this to my dad when I think he said the same thing, like maybe Ty Lue, and like
Yeah.
I said that's if we hired like, jeez, like Orlando Scandrick as our DB coach. It's like you can't have a disgraced player to the Philly populace as a. He is the poster.
Yes.
He is the poster boy of Philly's minimal dominance as far as basketball has been in this century. But
look,
I mean, I wouldn't mind it. It's just really, it was just so weird to see the team that basically made him a clown.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't he want to come back and establish that legacy here? He's not like erase that history. Prove it.
Sure.
And he's gonna bring Chauncey Billups with him, who I think is a fantastic ESPN guy. I think he knows exactly what he's talking about. So, I mean, I think it's great all in all.
Sure. So, what went wrong? Well, we just went through it. Everything. Literally everything. Yeah. There is no positives about this team.
I mean, look. I like what Shake Milton has for the future.
Sure.
I'm not as high on him as most people. I think there's a lot of lazy shots that he takes. I think he definitely needs a lot of improvement on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Literally that entire second half, their game plan was to bully Shake Milton.
Yep.
And so I think if he can basically improve upon that and become even a average NBA defender, say Steph Curry light on defense, then I think that's definitely a solid, if not bench piece, just somebody to start in your rotation and to plug without having to acquire, say, a Derrick Rose and the picks and assets that will require.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I talked a lot about that. This is kind of getting into the trade target section. I know I talked a lot about that, but I don't know what you can get with these two guys or anything we have. I think you got to throw Matisse in. I think you do.
Yeah. And
it sucks, but
it's a tradition here to trade all good young assets immediately. Look, legend, Landry Shamet, we miss you. My God.
Look, you can't throw Matisse into a Buddy Hield trade.
Yeah.
You can't throw Matisse into a Robert Covington trade. It can't happen. And if this organization lets it happen, then they're making exactly the same mistake they did last season, because I believe that he has the potential to be not only a 15-point per game scorer, but a lockdown defender.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think with the potential there, that's nobody you have the right to be trading. I'd rather give up, 2 firsts than trade Matisse.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I didn't really prepare myself with this trade stuff, but I think other than Matisse, Joel, and Ben Simmons, I don't care about it. I don't have an attachment to anybody else. Like, as long as we get a good enough return, as long as you trade to people for players that I enjoy watching or am confident in, then I don't care. I've come to a point with this team where I don't want to be attached. This sounds so sad, but like, we are at such a momentous point with this team where the changes will be made whether we like it or not. So,
I think
if you're a diehard Alec Burks fan, I don't think his time here will be much longer because
Look.
it is the Sixers.
I think how Alec Burks actually performed
Yeah, he's been
this
great.
bubble has been overrated.
Oh.
Believe it or not. Believe it or not. You look at the numbers. This man's only shooting 30% from 3.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
come
like
on.
as good as
That's as good as Joel.
yeah.
This is just a sign of how bad this has been. That we will take any sort of kind of volume shooting and we will claim it to be somehow good just because we have nothing else that we can throw on the floor besides Embiid and his post-ups. Look at Josh Richardson.
Oh, okay.
Everybody is consistently talking about Josh Richardson's effort and his shooting and the defensive presence he's provided. He shut down Tatum on like 2 plays, and he went 5 of 17 from the field.
And today he was 2 for 10. If
Exactly.
anybody cares.
Exactly. So it's honestly disheartening that this is what we're resorting to. Yep. There is a need for scoring that needs to somehow be accomplished. And I hate to come at Tobias Harris too, but
yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who seemingly only knows how to drive to the basket and cut. Those are the only 2 strengths I can see of Tobias Harris's offensive game if we were just looking at this series. And he hasn't been consistent from 3 all season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have to consider that this offseason and work with him because that contract isn't tradable either.
Yeah.
This man is the 3rd highest paid player in the National Basketball Association. And he had a minus 64 plus minus today.
God.
Minus 64. Not today. Excuse me. Not today. This entire series. 4 games of minus 64. And so,
like a net total,
if you're
or
looking towards the future, yeah, it's
if you have negative 64 in a game, you shouldn't even be in one game. You shouldn't be
on the court.
You shouldn't be in the G League.
Yeah, exactly. Raul Neto, and I know plus minus isn't a great.
It's a dumb metric.
Yeah, but Raul Neto only had minus 19. I'm just gonna say that. So. There is a ton of work, and I know we sound depressed, and I know we're down on this. But you also have to think about the hope. You do. And I know there isn't much of it now. But when Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons are on the court together, and if they are coached and trained in a way in which they can improve for the first time in 2 years, and running an offense in which they can coexist together, I truly believe that is a team that can at least make the Eastern Conference Finals and the finals with a roster that is constructed around them with the correct shooting and defensive 3-and-D wings.
Yeah.
And it's just something you need to build on.
This is just a mess. And seriously, if they trade Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons, you will not get a good enough return. Like seriously, there is no
Cavs trades need to shut up.
Yeah. There is not. You would have to take, as I said, if we trade with Cleveland, we would have to get the whole Cavs roster.
Yep.
All the good pitchers for the Indians. Let's get Lindor in there, sure, and then we should take OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett. Yeah, I mean, I would take a Jedrick Wills because he's better than or no, Jack Conklin too. Yeah,
they have Jack Conklin.
Yeah, they signed him.
This isn't even about basketball, but dang, I didn't even know they had Jack Conklin. What a legend.
Well, anyways, yeah, if you whatever GM is operating the Sixers, just don't trade Ben Simmons. I know you're not listening to this or Joel Embiid, but like,
yep.
You cannot imagine how pissed off you'll make this fan base.
Yep. Well,
Like-
the sad thing is I see people calling for it.
Yeah.
I see people in our fan base calling for it. And I know that's not what the entire fan base stands for.
Yeah.
I think the city of Philadelphia stands behind these two superstars as long as they are willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
The reason we are frustrated right now is because this is a team that seemingly gave up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seemed like. It seemed like by the time Ben Simmons was out, this team was just crawling towards their homes and getting ready to, return outside of the bubble and go back to their normal lives. And that can't be it. That's not a championship mindset. That's not a Mamba mentality.
No.
That's not how you win.
Well, I mean, we're done. We're done with the Sixers. So something that's probably not as bad, but still humiliating. Earl Thomas released from the Baltimore Ravens, and during that free agency from last season, we just said anywhere but Dallas, and that's probably what's gonna happen because until bounce back because the football gods hate us. But
look, I mean, Earl Thomas had an awful season last year.
he's pretty overrated. Wow.
He's gotten in as many fights with the Baltimore Ravens as he has interceptions.
So that's all. It's a lot of fights.
That's two.
Oh.
So I mean, to think that it's going to totally change and turn over that Dallas defense is ultimately a complete stretch. However, for a secondary that I saw as maybe even bottom 10 in the league with the way they were looking, and the overall dominance that adding Everson Griffin looks to provide, this could be one of the deepest and best teams in football. And it's painful, but it's true.
Yeah.
I think we also, though, have to acknowledge the fact that San Francisco and Houston are definitely not out of this.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think they are. I think San Francisco, if you can put him there, that's an easy lock for the NFC West.
Yeah.
And I know that's controversial to say right now. But if you can put a guy who most people consider to be a top 10 safety in already what I think is a top 2 defense in the NFL with guys like Nick Bosa and Fred Warner just all over the field, I think that's definitely something that's absolutely terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And then Houston, I mean, I don't know what they're going to give up for him. I hope it's not Deshaun Watson.
No. He's already released.
Baltimore going to run a double quarterback offense.
So, and I saw Bleacher Report say maybe Tampa, and
really,
I mean, if he takes a cheap deal, sure. I mean, their secondary sucks. So
yeah, I mean that would be incredibly exciting. That would
it would be a roster of washed veterans and good youth. So
yeah. I mean, washed veterans, but we're talking about washed veterans and the GOAT and possibly the best tight end of all time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, as I say that, they'll probably go 13-3 and make it to the NFC Championship, but
exactly 11-5. We'll get to that.
They're still going to be a good enough team.
Episode.
Yeah. And whatever happens throughout this offseason, there's still a lot to happen. There's so many injuries with the Eagles, and it could even get worse. But there's a lot of quarterbacks with the Rona. I know my boy Matt Stafford got it, I think.
Yup.
Minshew and who else? Anyways, it's not the Rona's gonna get to somebody.
Yeah.
And
this is going to be such a different NFL season. We're going to have weeks like MLB where teams aren't even able to compete.
Yeah. Oh, God. There'll be double headers of the Washington football team.
Exactly. It's going to be insane. So, I mean, I think we just have to expect it. And this offseason, I mean, we're going to have guys who might want out because of the not team success because of this virus.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely going to be interesting. And I'm just looking forward to see football again. So we'll see.
Well, we have been this is probably one of our shorter episodes. Obviously that lottery one, which is doing great. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you guys. Watching us scream. Yeah.
But other than the Sixers, we could have gone on a lot longer, but we could have complained for the next 7 episodes. We probably will in some sort of way. But,
just in parts.
Yeah, we're gonna spread it out. But thank you for listening, and we'll be back once Brett Brown is fired. Hopefully. Goodbye.
Yes, sir.